weekend,
Yes, it was.
sports-wise.
Yes, it was.
That was terrible yesterday.
And today.
Yeah, there's no reason they said that was an abysmal showing this afternoon.
Yeah, and I didn't even get to see yesterday's game live. I saw it. We had plans with friends of ours last night, so got home real late and started playing the game, and then it's like a train wreck. Just watching it go on, and yeah, it was just bad.
It's a shame. Well, West Virginia had that last week. They got smoked.
Yeah.
Couldn't do anything.
Well, this is going to be a lot more about your era than mine, so.
Well, this is like the very, very beginning of my era.
Yeah.
So it's the end of your era and the beginning of mine.
Yep.
But some of this stuff you were still in the apartment with Walt.
Yep. Yeah, I was trying to figure out with Jay, like, where I had stopped off for a little while.
Yeah, because they, after that, they transitioned to playing at Jay's house for a while, and that's where, like, Garnett's brother and all those guys were playing. I wasn't playing. We would stop by and occasionally check out. Bill and I would stop by
Right.
and make fun of them because it was like, super cheesy with those guys playing.
Yeah.
I heard that.
Oh, it was. Terrible time.
Why is it terrible?
Playing with Garnett's shadow.
Oh my God, yeah.
We were playing back in your mom's house for a while.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta shut the door.
Well, you had to do it. You worked with what you had.
Yeah, I mean, it was so long ago, So. Here we go. Here they go. Hey guys. So it's a Sunday. It's a pain, as Mark pointed out. It's a painful Sunday after everything that happened with with football for Mark, especially this weekend. Ohio State and then us with the Eagles. Oh my God, that was painful. But hello. So Mark, you were absolutely correct again. So
Just get used to that.
Yeah, well, you gave me credit for that one, and then Thing clipped it, and I highlighted it about me going like this, So you're absolutely correct. I mean, this is so much data and so much. You see these notes. I mean, I can go on and and on. But it's good that we're doing this because, my gosh, some of the memories that pop back on these adventures is just. I'm glad we're doing it. I really am. So hey, I got Bill, and I got Bill the Master Crafter. I guess we call him now, and I got DM Marco, who's hopefully finishing up his Riven Roar slap group adventure tomorrow night.
Yeah,
hopefully that finishes up.
That's what we're going to strive for.
6 to 9. I think that'll be a great one. And hey, Fen is on. Hello. And I know other people will be hopping on as we go. Tim said he's going to try and get on. His wife's been going through a couple things, so he's. But I talked to him, and he said he's going to try to get on. And other than that, so let's talk a little bit about the campaign. Oh, by the way, if you saw my Facebook post, I put that out. I kind of recreated the step by step, all those pictures, as the best of my ability, and then put them out, posted them. Because we're in the middle of this, I think, pretty good adventure. And, I just wanted to say thanks because, man, we jumped up in followers like crazy, really like crazy. So, I think it's really, it's coming together. So, I expect we'll do some more of that, get some more stuff, some more people, coming up, and we'll just keep on moving forward. And we'll keep on doing what we're doing here in this discussion. So we left off last time right at the end of 600, which would be 1989 for us. Just going over where we thought, kind of like what I said was like the Temple of Elemental Evil era, and guys like Tom were coming out. Tim, Walt, you, Mark were still playing, and we had Gary Sharp for a bit. Alan was, in and out, but he was there, and we had some others coming in a little bit. But a lot of them are through this era, and then Bill starts going to be coming in about midway through this next era. So I call it the where did the time go years, if you noticed on the notes, because I'm trying to figure out actually what happened in this time. It wasn't like popped right up. Yes, Then I hope you liked the actions of Michael Baton. There's a lot more going on, man. I am so excited about this. This is going to culminate in something massive, and maybe a year or two down the road. But I am laying the groundwork for like a crown level event for this. So I'm excited. I'm really excited about this one. Thursday night was a blast. Went pretty well.
Absolutely. You had Michael Baton at the forefront. How could it not go well?
Yes.
I just threw up again.
Yes.
In or out of your mouth?
A little bit of both.
I don't know why Fenn's saying, oh shit, but hopefully everything's okay. But maybe he's just saying because of the event level. But yeah, it's going to be a blast. It's going to link in Harvey and Greyhawk, because there's a lot of stuff going on between those two cities, and some other places too. So
get right into Rary the Trader.
No, I don't think Michael will ever be king. He may be a string puller, but I don't think he'll ever be a king of anything except his own coins. So a coin is just own coppers. So I don't think I can't even imagine that. I don't think I'd have players. I don't even think I'd have any players left if that was ever the case with the group with the amount of
starting off that David Gradavis is king of the Shieldlands.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's one of the three oligarchs of the Shieldlands. So where did the time go era? I looked through here, and what did I have down for Tim? I figured when Tim was back from military service, he was playing. It was Mark early on before his Ohio move, right? Alan a lot. Garnett, right?
Yep.
Wayne, Bill Reese, and probably just those two. Phil maybe occasionally, right?
Phil didn't really get started until we got out of the Blackwood house.
Okay, all right. So that was after. So
yeah, they were at the apartment.
Well, that's still at the end of this era. That's definitely at this end of this era.
At the end, yeah.
And then I have the other group, which started with Bill and Happy Bill, and then all the extra people who didn't hang on, including, you had Jack, and you had, who else was there? Sims, I'm Useless, all those guys, right? And
they were actually gone before I started.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yep.
Father
Guido Sarducci.
Not playing.
So, and I'm estimating this to be like the start of this era was 1990, and then I don't remember when Bill came on. It was 93 or 94, and that's why I have question marks next to that. I couldn't tie that down to that era. But some things that happened. I mean, we did a lot of Knights of Ulick adventures, and there were a lot of Knights of Ulick characters joining because there were no groups again. We're still leveling up some people. They grew adventure together, and then they joined the knighthood or whatever they did. 25% of all the knights that ever joined were in this era. So I mean, that's a lot of characters. I mean, that's over 50 characters that joined up in this era, which means we're running a lot of different groups all the time, and we are just bouncing back and forth between things and then running knight adventures. So it was all still Knight York based from what I can gather at the beginning, and then we did some super high stuff to the end of this era. So
that was Fort Delendar and all that stuff.
Well, yeah, absolutely. That is on this list. So you're looking at So I gave it away, but longest member in order of York not to make knight status and still be a character. That now it's back on the active because Walt put her back there. But that's Sybil. She's still 7th level, and she's been on there 31 game years, and she's still an apprentice. Now, Sir Reginald,
I've never even heard of her.
Yeah, Sir Reginald's the same way. But remember, with Tim's character, Reginald, he got up to 8th, but then he dual classed him. And then remember, I used him as an extra character in that Murloc's invasion of Narwhal we did. I used him actually in the Greyhawk Kids adventure too. So, so he's like 5th level mage. He's like 8-5, kind of like Kelvin was on Thursday night. And so Kelvin was actually pretty useful for a straight mage in that adventure. I thought that he would have started crying that, oh, my spells don't work. No one did that, and I was really glad to see that. It's a nasty area.
Well, once I saw on the preview where we were going, it was kind of expected.
Yeah, but a lot of people see. This is what I like about doing this and streaming it. A lot of people don't even they don't know the back history at all because they're all 5th edition heads. So they're all getting told what's in the Morning Canaan book. And then by the way, everyone calls him Morning Kynan. I did not know that. Is that true? Everyone says it's pronounced Morning Kynan, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I've actually. It's interesting. So when I was at Gen Con this year, there was a lot of. There were Greyhawkers there, of course, but there was like what we say Ias.
Yeah,
a lot of people say Ius.
Yeah.
What was another one? Ulek instead of Ulick.
Oh, you got that. Oh my gosh.
There was another pronunciation that was specific to the Pomarge, but I don't remember.
Oh man,
I don't remember off the top of my head.
That would drive me crazy. So hey, that's just the good thing is we're not going outside of our campaign at all, and crossing over anything.
No,
so it doesn't
not at all.
But so you get we did a lot of slavers. I think in the next group actually, the next time. Yeah,
that was a little later.
That's the next star. So some other things in this era. I was big on Dungeon Magazine modules. I was real big on those because I had just gotten Morning Kynan. I'm sorry, we're Kanan, and it's always going to be Warden Kanan for us. So considering I even have the Warden Kanan figure, so I ran a lot of series modules in this era too, like Salt Marsh was on this list. There's a lot of. I ran some classic modules during this era too. Some of them are on our wall, and it's just that was the fun thing. Some key characters in this era. I have Garth, Warmonger, Temporal, Zizix, Ambril and Carol, Jisia, Fedis. Fedis and Farquaad. I forgot Torque. Torque's not on this list, and he probably should be.
Yeah, Torque's on that list as well.
Sir Reginald, who we already talked about, and Oliver and Arachnow and Lector, right?
Lector,
because he should be on this list as well. Any key characters I missed there? This is still.
I will say that there was a lot of really great role play at that time.
Yeah.
So when Alan brought Garth to life, that was you had Boopy during that time period too.
Yeah, you did at the house. You had a lot of really interesting characters. Now I'll say this is the previous era that we did last week, where we ended with. That was my peak of power NPCs.
Yep.
To thwart the wanes of the world, right? I started toning them down in this era, finally down to their background characters because I was able to, right?
Yep.
So I think this is the era where everyone doesn't like Jisia, but she's not a powerful character, at all.
Or
you sound like Alan now, but.
And you had also eliminated a lot of the at this point. You had grown as well as a DM and eliminated Robe of Eyes or
yes.
This was the era of direction time period as well.
Yeah, this is the well, all right. So it's in the Dungeon Master's Guide and the Art of Arcana. That doesn't mean I have to use it, right? Yeah. So like I remember that I think it was Arathorn Arcturus. 50 times during the adventure, that arrow direction would go up in the air, and he threw it up one time and it hit a rock and it snapped in half.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a shame, man.
Well,
that's
and
such a shame.
Interestingly, there is one character that you left off the list here that started at the end of this era.
Okay.
Michael Baton.
Yeah, oh my, he's not old. I didn't even realize. You know what?
Yeah.
That's true.
He started it at this specific time because when the whole "That's It" thing happened, Michael was still playing. He didn't even listen as one of the players.
That's true. That's true. Michael Baton was a real person.
Yep.
But we won't go into the things. Yes, absolutely. Then, yay! But yeah, there's a lot of. I forgot that. Yeah, and there's probably a lot of those characters. I get most convoluted with Walt's because he's so. Sorry if you're on Walt, flaky with who he wants to play, when and then, and when they come in and out. So he's the toughest one to judge on time. But I'm doing my best weaning through all this. So here's some highlights of adventures, and if any stick out to you, or you've heard stories about them, please comment. All right, so I remember this one. This was out of a Dungeon magazine, A Rose for Talakara. I love that. That was a great one, and I think there was a Revenant in that one, if I recall. That was a great adventure, and that's out of a Dungeon magazine. That was number 99. Looks like the first time I ever ran Salt Marsh. 101, Secret of Salt Marsh. 107, Danger of Dumbwater. 112, Final Enemy. And we all know what happened at the end of 112. So they're all done, and Wayne said, but we never went to the room with the 6 Arms Sahagwin prints in it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Okay, so they all went, and then Garnett's monk got permanently killed and eaten by a shark. So it was made even more poetic. So that was some of the other fun stuff that we had to deal with in that era. Well,
and this was the first era. So if we're talking about timing, so at this point is when I had also started up a set of adventures using the City of Greyhawk. So City of Greyhawk would have been right about this time period.
Yep.
This is where Heather and Samantha started off at, and Reed and Rake, as everybody has been hearing, Rake coming back from the dead, and chastising Heather for just doing something natural because she just moved on with her life since he was dead. So
absolutely. Try to move your head up a little bit on the screen.
Sure.
Yeah, because you're good on mine. Yeah, there you go.
Yep. So essentially, we had the introduction of those city adventures at that point in time. You had real critical NPCs like Valderessa and Arthur that came to life as well.
Yep.
And then adventure cards. That was the start of adventure cards that came in.
There's a whole bunch of them in here too, because I think that at the end of this era we had the Greyhawk box set finally come out. Or we started utilizing it because, but that's true that if I recall, I was off with the girlfriend a lot, and those off nights you guys played, right? And you guys
actually during that time period is when you had started dating your now wife.
Is that really it? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh.
That's how long ago it was.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. Absolutely insane where all the time go. So, this one I remember because when we finished it, Mark gave me the compliment of that was the best adventure you've run to date, and that was number 104 of SV Far. Not that one. I'm sorry. Not that one.
105.
Not that one. The Vespi Forest War. Okay, I messed up there. I'm thinking of Dreadwood Encounters, right? That's 135. You said that on where we did the whole thing in the Dreadwood, and then I actually did it in the Vespi for Bill afterwards, and John and Bill Eilenfeld in those. but I just changed the venue to the Vespi. All right, so the second grand trip we took, the Vespi Forest War adventure. It was Mark was in Ohio, staying in Ohio, and we decide, is it 90 or 91? What the year was?
Yeah, it was probably.
I want to say 90.
That would have been around 90 because I moved back in 91.
Okay, so it's the summer of 90, and we rented a minivan, this old shitty Dodge Caravan, and it was myself. There were 6 people in it, if I recall. Alan, Wayne, Walt, Gary Scharf.
Yep.
Tim didn't go. There was 5, right?
Arnett.
Wow.
Arnett.
Holy jeez. Yeah, there was those 6 people, and we went out to Ohio. We played a whole weekend there, and I had Mark's mother was a seamstress, and I stepped on a what was it?
You stepped
I stepped on a pin that went through my foot, and I jumped up like
through your foot.
Like I got murdered, man. So but that was a great adventure where we used the hunt. We used the hunt in the Dee and
Master of the Hunt.
Yes.
Yep.
And that was and it went after Phuket, if I recall, because
Yep.
And he
It
took
went
off.
after Phuket. Yep.
Yeah, but during that flight, that's the one where Wayne's character Dalrin teleported into Solid Rock too.
Yep.
Right. So and he
And isn't that the one where Tandor tunneled into the ground as well?
That's Fortress Elendar.
Fortress
That was
Elendar.
Fortress Elendar. You remember that? But yes, so that was a very interesting event. So there's a purple dragon. I love those odd color dragons, and Dalrin's there, and behind him is Gary Sharf's character, I think Clanthos. And the dragon charges Wayne, and Wayne was not one to run away from a fight when he could, and he tried teleporting away, and he teleported down right into solid rock, so his head was sticking out beneath, and his feet are, so he was dead. And the purple dragon killed Gary's character, so that was a typical move. And that was the 3rd adventure in a row, I believe, that Sir Twix killed Herbie, Alan's character too. So. Now, we were talking about this before. The next adventure I have right after that's 105, Trinity Midsummer Festival, the first festival we ever ran. The first appearance of Sir Harn. Sir Harn actually won the joust. I thought we started it in Ohio. I thought we did. You're saying we didn't? I thought we did. Maybe not. Because you said there was something else we ran. I couldn't figure it out. I could not figure that out if we did run that or not. So... there's a little confusion on what was the other adventure that we ran there. So,
yeah, but that was the festivals that you ran were just ingenious. I mean, they were, and I think it was part of it was the thieves bet. Was that at Tringley, or was that a later one?
That was at a later one. That was actually at the wedding. That was actually at Herbie's wedding, I believe.
Herbie's
no, it was
okay.
the Celine 20-year anniversary. Celine Night of Yule 20th anniversary.
Okay.
Where they had a coin, and the last you had to keep it.
You had to put it on somebody else.
Oh, I thought you had to keep the coin. Yeah. All right.
No. You had to put it on somebody else, and one of your thieves put it on Lena.
That was hard.
And Walt, as sometimes happens, was distracted and didn't check himself.
Yeah, I think that was Hawk. Hawk did that. Yeah, Hawk won. Hawk won. But if we go back, this Tringley one was the one where Lena hooks up with Sir Harn, and the Doublemint twins from the Omega Patrol currently were this is where they came. This is where they were conceived.
Right.
So, and then Lena took off. So, because I was like, good riddance, man. Whew, what crazy broad, right? This was the beginning of the Walt loopy female character chain. She's the first.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And once again, sorry, Walt, if you're on, but, that's just the truth on that. So, I don't see him on yet. So, okay. My homage to Tim, 119, the Wizard Stidge. Okay, And Tim had the Wizard of Adventure, so I made this one up. Nowhere near as long as Tim's, but it was 3 levels. And I believe Iron Fell borrowed it from me. I still have it, but Iron Fell borrowed it from me. And Bill, were you at the time he ran it? And he ran it in one night, which I don't know how that's possible, but he ran it.
Sort of. Sort of ran it in one night, yeah.
Sort of ran it one night, yeah.
Yeah, it was a highly condensed. I don't think anybody made it through.
Yeah.
He added all of his homegrown characters' flavors to it.
Oh, okay. So. All right. So, but that was a memorable one. I should get that one back out and run that one again. So, 135 Dreadwood Encounters. That's the one that was a series of adventures. If we logged adventures the way I do now, I probably would have gotten 6 adventures out of that, right? So, that was a long one. Amazons of the Crimson Moon, 142. An extremely memorable,
That one was a classic.
Yes. This is the one where Emerson Winchester III gets corrupted by the Amazons, and they all ended up being, all the leaders except for the Kulara, which was the head, were ex-girlfriends' names of all the members. So, the ironies of life. Yeah. Well,
that was when the famous To Jackie from Wayne ring came out, I believe.
And the Everything I Do Cause of You poster of Brian.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that was a great one. And the Amazons are still around to this day.
Yes, they are.
They are still out there corrupting. So there you go. Yeah, nice tower, Bill. That's so. Is he working on a tower? He won't show us yet. So what are you working on?
Yeah, I'm working on a tower.
There you go. Yep. We'll show that one up shortly here. Season of the Witches 165. Oh, I missed Mud Sorcerer's Tomb, and Mark can't remember if he's on that one or not. So that was a Dungeon magazine, and that was an homage, honor of the Tomb of Horrors. It was that nasty. It was very difficult. Season of the Witches 165. That's the one that Tim was talking about last week, where his gal lad got aged 100 years and died because he got that corruption spell on him from a witch.
Yep.
So, and then this is the one you're thinking of, Bill. This is the one where you're watching. Number 186, Sheolan's Defense / Fortress Elendar is here, where we did the first part was a battle system adventure, and the second part was Fortress Elendar. Now this is pre From the Ashes. Have not done any From the Ashes. The From the Ashes is not even implemented at this point. The box set. I think that's the second running of Fortress Elendar actually. 202 Return to Sayre CD.
Before you even move on to that, so that's actually where. For the Shieldlands Defense, that's where the initial stories about David Gradivus actually came from.
Yes, absolutely. Because I remember he had a bunch of peasants, and he said "charge," and they all failed their morale check. The pitchfork guys all broke. Yeah, I remember that. I don't remember much else beyond that. I remember in battle system rules, units of halfling bowmen or short bowmen are impossible to find or kill. I remember that because I remember, I think Phil was there, and I couldn't. His unit was, they wiped out everything. I couldn't do anything to him. I remember that. I was like, this is ridiculous because you figure if a wizard sees him in AOE, but that's not the way battle system worked. I was like, But I think that was the last time we ever did battle system. I think we converted it over to do our combats to AD&D rules. At that point. So, yeah, I would love to. Go back and have some memories on that stuff. I don't think I'd ever run battle system again. I just don't think it's for us, So all right, let's see what we got here. Dark Tower is 217. Boy, that was a long adventure. Now, but you're saying you were not on that?
Dark Tower? No.
Yeah. Mark, you were not on that either, correct?
I was not.
Okay.
I think that's after I moved back here again.
Because that's Alan and Bill Eilenfeld definitely was on it. I know that.
Walt would have been there.
Walt would have been there. Okay. Because remember, that's the one with the two doors arguing with the diamond in the middle of the room, and Alan always talks about that. You know, in that one level of the Dark Tower. He talks about that.
Yeah,
all the
I
time.
think I may have been a visitor and stopped by and saw
Okay.
something, but I wasn't. I didn't play it.
All right, and then so this is where the adventure after that, number 218. I specifically remember of it. I called it The Advances of Evil. This is where the From the Ashes box set started and it got implemented on all the advances from EAs. We went over it all. We went over like a synopsis of it. We had some combats, but that was the adventure after Dark Tower. That was 218, and that's when we started implementing the From the Ashes stuff. Well, of course, we didn't do all of it, but we did some, and that was it. I remember that specifically. And I jumped ahead, and if Tim was on, I thought I would have talked about this a little bit, but 253 Skeeve's wedding. I did that in Watertown, New York, when he was stationed up at Fort Drum. So Meredith and I believe John went up there as well, and Edgem did the ceremony, and we did some adventures. You know, Lord Page, of course, showed up with his minions and stuff, and all sorts of things. But yeah, that was so that was just Tim, myself, and his dad up in Watertown ran that adventure. That was a very interesting, fun time up there. 258 Gold Keep. Gold Keep is on the edge of the Furiandi border on the White Sill. I remember there was a secret thing inside Gold Keep. It stated if you could find it, you could actually have it implode upon itself. You guys, anyone remember that one? I remember Walt's character did it successfully, and that was a defensive point for the Ears troops. Remember, it was called the Raising Line, where they had it, and it went through the northern part of Furiandi, and this was above that, and that was one of the last big Night of Yuluk things we did in this era, and then we moved on. From that point, we moved on to after this 260. This was a mega adventure, barbarian campaigns. Went up and, you know, did stuff with the snow barbarians, ice barbarians, frost barbarians, roast.
I was here for the very end of before that.
Okay.
Because that was at the house when you had moved in there. You finished that up there.
Yeah, I finished that up in my first house in Lindenwold, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that went well as far as another like you got kids from that event, you know, running now, and you got the barbarians from that coming down. Ro married the King Hungrid or whatever, and stayed up there, and the druids were lightning bolting all the bad guys, you know, with and there was multiple high level druids, and I remember that what's his name, Tristan, who had tattooed himself blue. That was the adventure. He tattooed himself completely blue.
Yeah,
he would sleep.
Edgin sat up on the hill and we're just doing call lightning.
But he was sleeping in the fire pit. Remember, he was asleep in the fire pit all night.
Yes.
He wanted to be warm, you know, of course, you know, so. But that ended that era as far as we kind of got, you know, through some high-level Night of Yuluk stuff, but we still weren't running adventuring groups. So that was the end of what I would say that era was. So I just moved to my house. So that had to these times may be off. Because that was 90. If I lived there, that was 90. I moved in before I got married. That was end of 95, beginning of 96. So I'm a year off on this.
Yeah.
Right. So okay. So this went to 95 then. Well, look at that. We figured a time frame out. All right. So yeah, so we went to 95 from that era, and then so the next one went 9. Okay. So. Yeah, well, any fireball lightning stick, you know, you never know with Tim. What I'm telling you. Yes, an there's been some. Tim's had some memorable moments. The last one I can recall that was really good was he had Fred DeFarty, a gnome fighter who specialized in dart. He ran up a sloped ramp, jumped off of it, and then started spinning pirouette style. And I said, "What are you freaking parkour or whatever?" And I was like, "You don't have that ability, you know." And so that was the last cool Tim thing that I can recall from him doing. But hey, you know, it's Tim. You got to give him a little leeway there. So, and Bill, before you came on, Mark and I were talking about Tim. Tim sent me a very interesting email a text on what his what the sister did to Sabrina in in Harvey. So that Michael Baton figured out. Yeah, good old Michael. So, all right, let's see what we got here. Next era that we came up with, and this is the era of the beginning of the adventuring groups, right? So we just implemented the Greyhawk box set's been in, but now we implemented it from the Ashes box set. Yeah, well, I got to keep it, man. So we're talking about game years around 614 to 624. It's 1995, and I think I'm going to say it goes up to 2004, this era. We got done all the super high level stuff, and I'm like, let's start a new group. But let's do something different. Let's not start it and then put it in Knighthood. Let's start it in Greyhawk City itself. Mark's had this successful Greyhawk City group. Why don't we do the same thing? So there you go. So we did it.
Well, you had two players who were anti-Knighthood, too.
Yeah, both Bills. Yeah.
We had the break the establishment.
And they did, and we did, and that was a break from there.
To the betterment of the campaign.
Well, yeah, I'll say so, because look where we are now. I mean, Greyhawk and Harby and Altamira is rich with lore and rich with stories because of the change,
Yep.
It's not just a city with stuff in it. It's a city with characters with homes and, other generation of characters coming and rivalries between groups and political intrigue, and I think it was a great move for the time period. So you look at the first group we had was the Iron Brigade, and I don't think we have technically run them streamed, right? Because last thing we did with them was the expedition to the ruins of Greyhawk, and that was before we broadcast anything. And
well, they're at the height of playability now. Or they're right at the border where it's hard to play them.
It is, and we're missing John's characters too, and they were vital to the group. So you had in that group, you had two Winchester kids from Elijah the Third and Charisse. You had Elijah the Fourth and Kieran Winchester. You had Bill's characters. You had Marcus and Salin and Trevin. I had Brolin. You have, and this is where, and also I think Mark, you're gone now, correct?
Yes, I have left.
You had left, and there was no streaming back then. There was no FaceTiming back then, so
no.
So Mark's like, here's story. Mark comes back once or twice a year, I think, to play.
Right.
So you have other characters. John Sheets had some great Petronius, and which was a druid thief, one of the coolest, halfling, and you also had Abdul, a clerk mage, got way up there and was actually to this day is with Mariel, and if you know who Mariel is, she's the basically the apprentice to Jolarzi Salivarian, so he's in with them, and it's a very very powerful group. And who did Bill have?
Well, Bill was in it. It started to be in and out at that point. So Bill
Did
had
he have Sonus?
He had it was Veneria was the big bounce there.
Veneria was in everything,
and Corellia was a bouncer. He still used Alistrina on occasion back then.
But Corellia was in the previous era. Corellia was actually in the previous era, and he brought her, and he dual classed her.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So it was a kind of a bounce around there for a while.
Right. So, but you look at the time frame, and you had some other groups came on. We still did some higher level Night of Ulick adventures. We did. And we also, in this era, we took a group of characters that were higher level, probably 8th or 9th, maybe even 7th, and we took them up to the Vesvi, and we did stuff up there, and they formed a group, right? And that's
because that was my first characters in the campaign was Alinor and Jonar.
Right. So you had Alinor, Jonar, Real, Mistis, Branwyn, right? Florentia and Veneria would ended up there too.
Yep.
Well, yeah, because
You know, and then
Yeah, I actually had
Marlena.
Alhana in there for a while
You did.
as well.
You had Alhana in there too, because I remember
Yep.
Alhana and Marlena and Veneria would all pal around, if I recall.
Yep.
So and John also had Sven the Red, I think too.
yes,
John had
Sven
Sven
Red.
and Sven. Yeah. So we had another good group of adventures, and I haven't used them in a while either, but they're kind of high level. But that they formed and stayed up there, and there are a couple night characters up in that group as well.
Yep.
And then
Yeah, was
One of the
Brandon in
keys
that
at that time,
Brandon was,
the keys at that time was character that we had never thought would ever exist, and that was a magic user illusionist. In
dual
Mystic.
class.
A dual class magic user illusionist.
That's incorrect. She's the second one.
First player.
Player character, yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. I had an NPC. Do you know who that is, Bill?
No, I don't know.
Dual class magic user illusionist.
No idea.
Lady Valencia Page. Skeeve's wife.
Yep.
Yep. She was dual
Whose wife?
class.
Steve's wife?
Yeah. Yeah, he married Lord Page's ex-wife.
Huh. Interesting.
She would visit his bread store every morning, and I don't have that on here as an adventure at all. I really don't have that, I just didn't count it the entire thing, but it's got to be in there somewhere,
Yeah.
So when I just was doing one-on-one adventuring with Tim and his Thieves Guild, that's a thing we didn't even mention. Probably in the previous era, when he created his Thieves Guild, and we just did Thieves Guild adventures the whole time with him, and he developed all these characters up. It was fun, and it was out of Highport. He went to Highport.
And a result of that too. So Alan had actually joined into that and left a vacuum.
Alan, well, yeah. So the quick story behind that, if you haven't heard already, Alan and Tim was playing Leuven as well. So both Leuven and actually Leuven was just a sidekick, another Tim character. He wanted to have another character go around with him. So Alan's character Sam formed his own Thieves Guild as well up there to help with Skee's Thieves Guild, and it was like 6 to 8 characters, and one of them was named Drarius the Deposed, and he was dual class. He was a fallen cavalier. He was down on his luck, cap neutral, lost all his money, so he became a thief because he thought, that would be easy, right? So but he sucked at it. So every time he would fill a pickpocket, he'd get angry, he'd basically break their arms or legs or whatever, take the money and take off. So he was always getting arrested. So what happened was all the slavers had come in, and there was a big fight, and Leuven and Sam met a female assassin who basically assassinated them, but to add insult to injury, cut their things off and inserted them in their mouths. And Ski found them both assassinated, and when he got them all both raised with the scars on their ding-dongs, right? They're like, we're out of here. I don't want any part of this anymore, right? So Alan's character, Sam, just leaves. He just flees and leaves. Highport didn't say a word to his thieves, just left. So Drarius remembered it to this day. The homeowners, that happened at the other house. They may have had a story about what happened there at their house, right? You guys got banged big time for that house you were living in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So years later, they find out in Altamira there's this new Thieves Guild that doesn't allow halflings or gnomes or any stunty characters in it. It turns out that the guildmaster is now a dual-class 9th level cavalier, 13th level thief named Lord Drarius the Deposed, whose sole purpose in life is to seek revenge on Sam. And it's still going on to this day. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, considering he's already implemented phase 1, right? Take his friends and corrupt them. So that'll be good too. I ought to pursue that one at some point in the near future too. Let that one fester a little bit. All right, so other groups during this era? Legion and the Great Company, because we just went one after another. We didn't do Harby yet. We didn't do Altamira. We did another group called the Slavers, which were all Knights of Hewlett, were bound characters, but they really didn't have a base anywhere. So that's we did this. I left it downstairs. The Slavers supplement, because I'm using that for the Harby adventure. The Slavers supplement that has all the stuff that we're doing now. I mean, that group basically, for the most part, stay together, right? You have Bill. You have Sarah.
I have Sarah and Brianna.
Sarah and Brianna, and then the NPCs are Alexis Winchester, Andrew's daughter, and Daphne, and then I got my brain is fried. Varum is Waltz, and there's a couple others in that. And you were in and out, Mark. You may have run an adventure or two with them, if I recall.
Yeah. I have Thurston. He's a knight, and I have an undead hunter in Sir Sean.
Sir Sean. So what we did with that group is we got Wild Coast adventuring, some Harby area adventuring, working our way up. If you know anything on the Slavers reference, it's all about finding out the yellow-sailed ships and what's going on there. And I made it almost like a campaign module and not a setting, and kind of now it's a setting. So they ran up to a certain level, and then we got to a point where that group. Oh, and then Alan's character, his specialty priest of Cord, got banned forever from Harby by Alita.
Well, the whole group was essentially.
Well, yeah, but specifically him. He was told on penalty of death ever to come in. Yeah, because that was when we started. It's like, maybe Harby's a good place down the road to do something. And a couple years later, the opportunity arose. So, yeah, that was the other group. And then I put down here, and I'm not sure about this, I think the Sex Addicts were running at this point, too. And that was an unsuccessful. That group broke apart and then became the Reborn just about a year ago.
Right.
Not even that, like 9 months ago. But that group,
yeah, well, there was a couple other groups that were groups that started and failed in there. They just never stayed together as a group for whatever reason.
Well, a lot of it had to do with the other Bill's tensions with all the other players. Right. So Wayne is gone by now. Problem player number 1 is out now. Bill had his.
So problem player number 2 joins.
Yeah, and problem player number 2 drinks this port wine at Adventures, the entire bottle, and gets drunker and angrier as the night goes. And the best story to that is the last one of the era that I marked down. Adventure number 514, which we talked about in the original David Gradivus events before David Gradivus' wedding.
Yep.
The Oligarchy of the Shieldlands, the Ravagers. So this is the adventure where, yeah, wah is wah effing wah, yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
This is the adventure where it's going to be determined now. The Shieldlands are kind of stable. They regained some territory. Who's going to take over? And so Bill has his character, Ajun. Now remember, I brought Ajun out as a drunker 10 years later in game time. So he's drinking all night long, and he went from at the beginning supporting David Gradivus to at the very end of the night, fuck David Gradivus, it was one of the funniest things ever. Now, and he left and didn't do the second half. You remember that?
Yep.
So that was funny. But the memories are coming back now. So I couldn't remember any other groups at this point. I think that was it. There were no Harby groups yet. There were no Altamira. There was the Altamira Adventurers Guild, right? That's it. So this is what happened at that time frame. We still didn't do adventuring groups out of Altamira. We made an area where the characters, you do some stuff lower level together, but then you went into a pool called the Altamira Adventurers Guild or Mercenary Guild. That's where neutrals and stuff could go. And there's still lots that are it's called Open Altamira Night. So you'll be able to choose from that. And that's where a lot of these characters get pooled. Like,
Yep.
and we use them. You're allowed to use them in an open setting sometimes. Like Flid is one of those. Charlie Bravo was one, right? You know, but trying to get some grouping back together with that. So, whoa, I'm getting my blood curdling. Ah!
All right, so where in the grand scheme of things, as far as the adventures go, the whole story about Big Mama happened?
That was right after Jay got into the Stratford house.
That was, yeah. So we're not. Well, that's here. I mean, this is to 2004. So that is.
No, that would have been 2004. That was before. That was at the Summerdale house.
No, I said through this era goes through 2004. So that would be by Underworld Publishing. You know, that adventure. I didn't note that down on this list, but I guarantee it's here.
Yeah.
So
you got to tell that story because that's a classic.
When we did the Unique Magic Items adventure, this adventure, the Caduceus Snake that you saw a couple weeks ago, Bill had this character, Big Mama. It was not this Bill, the happier Bill, who had a dwarven thrower hammer, and there was this big pit, and and you couldn't see the bottom of the pit. Who knows how far? Well, this purple worm shot up right from it, so who knows how deep it was. Purple worm comes up. Arabella throws her dwarven thrower hammer. Okay, fumbles. Okay, it hits a rock near the misses. We roll on the fumble table. Weapon breaks. Now, it's a special item dwarven thrower, which is +3, so there's a 70% chance it doesn't break. I roll like 98 or 99, so the weapon snaps, right? I mean, it's a tough call, but it happens, right? He loses it. So he just looks around and says, that can't happen. I said, yeah, sorry, it did. And his character, I guess, thought that life wasn't worth living and just jumped. My gosh,
right.
I'm so glad you
then
brought that
that's
up.
where you need to say when.
Yeah,
but the best part of that whole thing is there was a treasure chest we got to pick from at the end to get from items, and one of the things was a dwarven thrower was in the chest.
Yeah, so he could have easily replaced it. But that the picture of the No Just No picking his nose, that's the guy. He I guess he couldn't. His character couldn't live with herself, and she just jumped, and she's falling to this day. We always say, when will Big Mama hit the bottom? And the answer is never.
Well, we even have a special piece of terrain built for her.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We'll have to show that. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. The Big Mama killing herself is during this era at some point. So some highlights. 261, the murder of Maury Miller. That started off the Iron Brigade.
Yep.
267, the first Mongrels of the Putrid Tongue ever run. By me. 271, Cairn Burglars. This is not the Star Cairns. What happened in this adventure?
Boy, was that the discovery of the crown?
Good job! The discovery of the crown in that one, Cairn Burglars. Then sometimes you gotta just have problem players, and you gotta weed them out over time, and you just gotta, it's part of being a DM. It's part of life. It's a shame. He was a problem player in World of Warcraft, problem player in Star Wars: The Old Republic. It just BattleTech even. It just was, just couldn't get along well with others. It's a shame, but it's just the way it is. 274, the Noble Pawn disappearances. So that was actually the Iron Brigade. So that's, Great Company did not do that. The Iron Brigade's actually the one that recovered, but you used that to your advantage. Working for the Arrows, first time dealing with Curlin's Arrows, 284. A memorable adventure I did with Estrella, the Greyhawk Dragon, Estrella's Rescue, 296, where you found out the entire thing. You probably could have freed her. She was kidnapped. You could have probably freed her. She could have freed herself the whole time, but you wanted the drama of it. I don't know if you remember that one. So yeah. She was the opera singer. She's actually a Greyhawk Dragon. That was a pretty interesting one.
Yeah, that was Iron Brigade, yeah. I remember that because I think Salmon has her poster. 200-some-year-old.
Absolutely, with under a different name, but looking like the same person. 309, a big one for Eleanor the Eagle's Nest, the discovery of the Eagle's Nest. Now, if I recall correctly, though, you got killed by Losseldung, critical hit in that adventure too.
He was killed by that. Yep.
Yes. So, yes, don't get killed by Losseldung. So, yeah, comical gold here. The Brothers 336, that's up there too. They're still up there. Yes.
Well, it was also our introduction that I think that venture to the Passing Shadow.
Absolutely. As opposed to the Passing Gas, that was someone else.
Yes.
True story. 337, one of the most memorable, momentous, big campaign-changing adventures of all time. Return of the Eight. So that was then, and I recall that it was. I think did Salem get killed in that one? That's the only time he got killed?
Salem, he was killed before we moved to Luna.
The Retriever killed him, right?
He got hit by a cone of cold and died.
Okay.
But I don't remember what it was or who it was at this point.
Yeah, and that gave out some unique items also in the campaign: the Boots of the Running Warrior, the Belt of Brawling, and what Abdul has the.
Yes, I know the Belt of Giant Strength. Yeah.
One of the most fun, dark adventures I ever did. Number 343, Little Johnny's Salvation.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a little dark on my part. Alan's favorite adventure of all time, number 354, The Star Cairns. That is definitely a Legion adventure.
Yes.
Alan always says it's the worst adventure that he ever went through. I don't think it was that bad. I just think he's overreacting, and that's a published module. I remember this one. This was the Night of York adventure with some open characters, and I actually ran Gazumbo on this one. Number 383, The Free Reavers. That was the one where you can only teleport in a person every round and a half, or every second round. And there was barely, and they had to fight. I remember Marcus was one of the first ones in, Gazumba, and then a couple other people. I think, if I recall, it was nasty. I don't know if it was Marcus or.
I don't think it was Marcus.
No, it was Legion.
We didn't really split people off from groups at that point.
This one we did. This one was split. This one was a split adventure.
Was Hawk on that one?
No, it was Gazumba. I only have one NPC on that. It was Gazumba, the only one. Yeah, that was nasty because I had Wayne Drew, Derek Reese in it. Right.
Yep.
Yes. So Wayne Drew Derek Reese is a compilation of all the goofy players from, this is how I bust people's balls, from 5 to 8 years earlier.
Yep.
Into one big Mongo character. So.
And that was the one I think that Swain did the Retributive Strike in.
Yes, you did. You did do that. You did the Retributive
That's
Strike.
when Dahlren and Julak and all those came back.
Yes.
Wow, was that long ago?
Yes, it was. Sharon Velinar got away, but everyone else got killed off. She's the only one, that survived that one, if I recall, on the bad guy's side. She's going to be perfect for, in 2 weeks, the bad guys and gals. We're going to talk about, once we finish up this campaign, the next Gabbin, we're going to talk about the really vile, awful NPCs that have even shown up in a module or shown up as antithesis.
Kayla? Oh, I'm sorry, that's a different nightmare.
Who?
Kayla.
Yeah, that's a different nightmare, man. Absolutely. But we'll talk about all of them in a couple weeks. I think that'll be a fun one. Talk about the bad guys and gals. All right, so we're at the Free Reavers. I put this in just because we always got to talk about Leonard Kafka one time each episode, right? 409, Deep Dwarven Delve. That came out of the 25th anniversary Silver Edition box set, L3.
That was a good adventure.
It was a good adventure. It was a very good adventure. If you have that in unsealed, pristine shrink wrap condition, you can get $1,000 for it. Now, a very good condition one that all the modules are marred or in perfect condition, you still get a couple $100 for it. That's how valuable that 25th edition one is. I wish I had bought. Back then they were like candy all over the place. You know what I mean? So we're talking about in the mid 90s at this point when that thing came out. Legion's relocation to Critwall 412, a big one. They left Greyhawk and then went to Critwall, and then started working their way up into the Shieldlands, and they're still there to this day. This is the Sex Addicts, the Tomb of Abbathor, number 460, and I know that specifically because of the mace that you have, Bill, on one of your characters, right? The Mace of Terror, Star Terror.
Oh, yeah.
Star Terror came out of Tomb of Abbathor. This is the first adventure I ran a Necromancer Games module, and I was like, man, this shit's pretty good. And then, so I have them all those, all the old Necromancer Games stuff, and I was like, man, they did. This is right at the beginning when 3rd edition had started to come out, but we're still, and at least their motto was 3rd edition look, 1st edition feel, it was good. So we ran that, and then 465. This is another Necromancer Games module, a mega module. The Iron Brigade did Chaos Rising, and that you actually fight Dweebalix at the end.
Yep.
Yeah, were you there for that, Mark?
I do remember that. Yeah,
Okay.
because I was there for the Tomb of Abbathor. I
Okay.
was there
you were
for
living
the
here.
3 Reavers. Yep.
So you were back. Okay. Now this adventure is the one where Alan's gnome in that group. Man, I must have had a stroke or something. In the Iron Brigade, poisoned the well. Kroger Blackrock poisoned the well because there was an army below that wanted to get access to this place. So, and he killed a whole bunch of troops by I remember that specifically too. And then the last one in this era was, we already talked about it, the Oligarchy of the Shieldlands and the Ravagers. I think that would end up the time frame here where we actually we're going to start doing some Shieldland based stuff. We haven't even gotten to any of the other groups in Harby and Altamira yet, and it looks it's like a time frame of hey, it's a good time to talk about, I think, our first groupings of characters and adventuring parties has been a success. I think it's this the way we do it now, where you can be members of the Knighthood, you can be a member of another organization, you can be a member of a guild, you can be whatever, it don't matter, and then you can still be in another adventuring party. And I think it's a very good. Our campaign now at this point has evolved to this point, to this, and we use it to this day. And this is we ended up around 2004. The reason I marked this down too, my brain really got fried at this point. 2004, November 2004. I start playing WoW on a regular basis, and it really affected my DMing because we were raiding Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and then I'm DMing on Thursday night, and it just was too much with all the work and all the travel and stuff. And I remember my DMing kind of suffered at this point, so that's why I figured that would be a good point to stop that next era of adventuring. So, and that ran for 4 years through 2008, and I realized I'm going to end up getting divorced if I don't stop this. So, right, So what do you? What memories do you have from this time frame?
I know one thing that was also going on about that time, because I had once again moved back to Ohio. Actually, at this point, for a very, very good reason, to go get married.
Yes. But
we were also doing, this was at the point in time when Neverwinter Nights came out. And from just a computer standpoint, it really kind of opened up the door for a lot of the things that we're now seeing today. So we were still using very canonized types of spells and so forth. There wasn't a lot in regards to Agonar's Scorcher wasn't in yet. The amulets of natural armor weren't in yet at that point. Those are all things that kind of came out of that we start using today.
A lot of unique items too start really popping up now. I'm using a bunch of them from NWN. You're absolutely correct.
I'll be right back. I gotta run and grab a charger. My battery's about to die.
Not a problem, man. Not a problem.
Yep.
So I would say we tried at that point. We're like, oh, cool, we can make our own adventures and stuff, and it just never it was the coding was too much and stuff, and
Yeah.
we tried actually running adventures with characters in NWN, and I was like, I wish it was so close. But now the NWN, they still are the enhanced edition. I mean, Beamdog is still they have a Twitch show just about the updates they're doing to it. It was on over the weekend. Yeah, it was just on over the weekend, and the patch 1.77 patch just came out over the weekend for it. So they're actually still working on the NWN.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
But that also had such a major influence, I think, on where we took the campaign, the things we started doing with it, item wise and stuff. I think really came to fruition.
Absolutely. So I wasn't about to jump up ahead. I know. We looks like this tonight. Of course, I figured, we're not going to get that far, right? So we may we'll run another 15. How's that sound here? And then we'll actually stop a little earlier than 9 tonight, I think.
Sure.
That way, Bill's not rushing to get to his off to. Oh, that's a nice picture. Off to his
Walking Dead.
Walking whatever. Yeah, the ratings on it are the worst they've been since the first season. That's a shame. So it's
well, all good things must come to an end.
I guess so, man.
Yep.
I guess they got to change the format up on it or something. So
that's what I did with Fear. So it worked.
Yeah, but it's still nowhere near. The ratings are nowhere near as high as the original. But
No, nowhere near.
all right, so I look at number 515, Fiend's Embrace. And I know that was right after the Oligarchy adventure, and it leads me to believe that we had the in this era we had another group. We had the Night Stalkers, because that's Fiend's Embraces the adventure. Gilfinus gets that demon cloak, right? Isn't that it?
I believe so.
So we may be wrong, and we may have already started the Night Stalkers in Altamira at this point. Because I'm looking at that as the next adventure right after it, and that wasn't a first level one. So I'm thinking that we had, and we also had the Druid group, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
We had the Druid group at that point. We had the Grey Company at that point.
Right.
So that's when Heather and Copus got
Right.
into.
So I gotta add the Druid group, the low level Druids. And the reason I should have put 2 and 2 together, the campfire thing that really threw Bill and the angry Bill into a tizzy.
Yes.
Was at this point, and so we had the Druid group and we had the Night Stalkers.
Yep.
So okay.
And we also at this point in this era also had the introduction of a few new character classes too. So the Guardian being one of them.
Yeah, out of
Dragon magazine. I want to say that we also started incorporating necromancers as player characters.
Yes, and elementalists.
Yeah, because they went back a long ways, because Rael
Was a
was
player
necromancer.
Yeah.
Originally.
Yeah. We also had elementalists too, but we only had 4
Yep.
elementalists.
Yeah, we didn't have very many elementalists. We also had shadow mages at that point, I want to say.
No, they were much later.
Were they much later?
Much later.
Yeah.
Much later. We had I'm gonna say Crusaders.
The Night Stalkers were the original group for Shadow Mages.
So we did have them.
Yeah.
You're right, Mark. We did have them at that point. You're absolutely correct. Look at that. You are on a roll, man. So
Yep.
we had So we have elementalists, necromancers, shadow mages. The
I think
incantation.
you had also incorporated the knight at that point. So at that point we had Cavalier, the Cavalier Paladin, Cavalier, and we just didn't feel that there was something missing. And so you had taken the knight class from Dragonlance and had adapted it not to what it is today, but had adapted it to
Sky Stars in Heaven instead of the Rose Crown or whatever.
Yeah.
I just
Swords, Crown, and Rose.
It was good, but it didn't fit the campaign well. And then so that we kind of and the next week we'll talk about the real conversion over of the knight. That's a huge thing. Shield Thane, don't. It had to have been now because Eilenfeld wrote it, so it had to have been now. We have the Shield thing.
Yeah, well, he was. Bellagrís was in the Night Stalkers, right?
Yes, Catherine von Poppins and the Night Stalkers. Inquisitors are in.
Inquisitors are in. You
So
didn't do Undead Hunters, I think, at that point.
No,
I think that was a little bit later.
So anything that came out of Baldur's Gate 2 and was converted to a class is now. Avengers, Jury Group, yes.
Yeah.
Right? So, so Inquisitors, yes. Saxon, not yet.
No, that was a little bit later.
And this is also when we started seeing the advent of the specialty priests starting to come in as well.
No, they were in early because Trevin was a specialty priest at Tritharion from the start.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Is that's the very beginning of the era.
Oh, very beginning of this era.
Yeah.
But
that
was
very beginning of this era. Second edition, specialty priests start to come in. Oh yeah, but I still think they're earlier than that because Jussia was one all the way back the previous era. So no, the previous era they came in. Jussia has been one all along. So yeah, but those classes were the ones that came in that we added. Jesters, of course.
Yep.
Yeah, they were way before that. They were.
And I want to say the Wild Mage was also another one.
Wild Mage is a previous era as well because don't you remember the guys from Lynn Schaefer's boyfriend's friend, the one with the wire? He had a Wild Mage, remember?
Okay.
He put the wire around the guy or whatever. Yeah, we didn't use a lot of players. The Legion, I had Jacqueline Tyneman. She was the
you didn't have one for the longest time, and then you tried to convince me to change over Kilgalith.
Yes.
To Wild Mage, and I'm just not a fan of not knowing what's going to happen with spells, and I wouldn't do it.
No, as a player character, I NPC'd one, but we didn't have a player character Wild Mage.
Yep.
Right.
But then Walt had the one who turned red.
Yes.
Yeah. And then there's a couple other ones here and there. So there's Tom.
There you go.
All right. Well, with Tom on, maybe we'll go like 8:55 now to get Tom to give a little input there. So how you doing, Tom? Good to see you hopping on. We're talking about an era that you were gone.
and I corrupted his favorite character.
Yeah, that was wrong. That was wrong.
Now, did you also see the use of the
That's a good question, and an adventure earlier. That's a good question about 5e. So Brian, and you've seen Brian, my friend, he's actually on a Disney cruise right now. So that's why he hasn't been on in the last week or so. Yep. Brian talked about this where you worship a deity, and then there's like 8 different aspects of the deity you can do. And like there's combat, or there's like morning or sun or something like that, and so there's not unique spell lists, but each deity is slightly different, right? And that seems to be the different aspects within each deity. Whereas with second edition, it's a specialty class unto itself, that character with special abilities and things like that.
Yeah,
now
it really helped to breathe life in the cleric, because clerics were just, all they had was really healing. There wasn't. I mean, there was some concepts of like battle clerics or battle mages. There was a concept of the sorcerer class for mages coming in.
I couldn't stand sorcerer. Sorcerer's a poor man's lame-o mage.
Yeah.
But the specialty priest at this point, if we go back in before specialty priest, the straight cleric didn't exist. Did not exist. It
Very
was
rare.
Multi-class clerics only. Fighter cleric, mage, cleric thief, ranger cleric. No one wanted to play a cleric on its own. It was boring as hell, right?
Besides Alan.
Yeah.
That's basic.
Because that's the only thing that was available.
At the time, that's what David Bradivus was.
There were no multi-classing in the basic set. None. Except for Elf was a fighter mage, right? Elf shot the food, right? So,
right.
yeah. So clerics, the specialty priest was needed to liven up clerics, and I'm so glad we did it, because some of the best characters and role playing like Michael Baton, right? Especially Priest of Zilchis.
He was a straight. Actually, he started off as a straight cleric,
right? And so
with the concept of charging for healing.
Yes,
you know,
we allowed. Well, that's perfect. I mean, I can't see a character that shoots a crossbow, runs around, and has 8 spells, but can cast them all 4 times each, and that's it, of 5 different levels. It just drives me insane. That is so computer game de-engineered back, you know. And the one thing I like the way we've evolved mages too, with a variety of spells and extra slots and all that. So, but yeah, especially priests were an absolute necessity to the game. I know Leonard Lakofka argues that point with spheres and stuff. Well, we took it to another level, and I make a spell list up for all of them and special abilities for all of them, but because I like the flavor. I mean, there's a big difference between a specialty priest of Tritharion, a specialty priest of Foltis, and a specialty priest of Kellenin. They're completely different. I mean,
absolutely.
You know when you come across, or especially a priest of the Stormlord, or whatever you want to, or the bad guys.
Solanor Philandera.
Solanor, or there's
Alana.
A huge Alana.
Totally different flavors.
Completely different. I mean, oh man, I lost my train of thought there. But specialty priests really reinvigorated the class. It was so Chasey, the character from Thursday Night, she's one of the rare ones. The specialty priest allows a multi-class thief option. So that's how he has a specialty priest / thief. There's only like 3 or 4 of them that do that. And then we have the Flandel Steelskin I made up for your guy, Ollie Swizzlestick. You need they breathe a whole different aspect into the game, an ethos from a deity, and it really brings the wherever the city to life. They got the churches of them, and what influence you're going to run into in a town in your campaign when you see, oh my God, there's a Church of St. Cuthbert here, and there's a Church of Palor here. But there's no Church of Ralashaz here. You know what I'm saying? You know what you're going to kind of expect in the town from it. So, oh God. So sorcerers are still around in 5e, but hey, like I said, we're not a 5e. And here's something I did. You're going to notice this. If you go back in some of the old stuff, and you look at the new broadcasts, I looked online. When you can do a compilation, you can see, like, you hit Dungeons and Dragons, and you see the adventures up. What do they all say? Juan Valdez plays whatever chef, and it says 5e after it, right? Yep. All ours are going to say, and you can take a look at the events for tomorrow night's, especially Mark's. At the end of it says in caps 1e/2e, so that everyone online now is going to know what they are looking at or what they click on, and they're going to go, "Oh my God, I'm old school." Now you're going to be able to find it, and I have to go through them, and it'll immediately say 1e/2e, all the adventures. I'm learning how to get through the rigmarole of what's good and what's not to do on Twitch here. So everything will say 1e, 2e on it from this point on. So just so you're aware. So, yeah. No, we don't know. I don't
now had at this point had the Crusader or Swashbuckler or Bandit hit?
Bandit was in, and Swashbuckler was in.
Bandit's an old class. Because I had Ninia and Radic Bonk, remember? Ninia's old. Yeah, Bandit's a fairly old class. Goes back almost to the beginning when Tom was around. Almost. Because it was in the Dragon magazine. Just like
Incantatrix.
Guardian. Guardian. Archer, that's where we got it from. So, at this point, we're talking about, we're in around 2004. It's about the WoW era. The campaigns really developed some flavor. We got all these adventuring groups. We still do Nightingale campaign adventures, but I'm doing them a little bit less frequently. Walt wasn't a fan of that. So Walt was having marital issues with the first wife. So Walt is kind of in this 2004 era. He's out now. It's funny. So everyone's moved in and out over time. No one has been there from day one all the way through. You know, as a player,
except one person.
Me?
You.
Well,
yeah, you.
I'm not a player. Exactly, but you know, remember, there's a time when you're running stuff in Greyhawk City and I'm not there, right? For
Sure.
your stuff.
Very
so,
true.
Yeah, that's
Very
true. But
Yep.
so Walt is in the next era is going to be out for a couple of years and not be in there that much until he gets divorced, and then he comes back, right?
Yep. And,
So-
and that's when Bill did he usurped the throne of becoming the pet.
Yeah.
I'm not your pet, Mark. Trust me.
Yeah, Tom always is mentoring Elf Shot the Food. I said that, I think, right before he came on, too. All right, so, Bill, show us what you got going over there, man.
I was inspired today. I was just fooling around and thinking of Tom. I started making a tower with a broken spiral staircase because he kept talking about Highlander the other day.
Look at
or
that.
last week. So,
That is awesome.
Right there at the top, you can battle it out.
And if Tom was on, I see my cut has improved your voice. He'd be
Yes.
saying that 100 times.
Yeah, I saw.
He was already talking about it. Tom already
Yeah.
mentioned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
We're
dude.
texturing bricks, so it's, this won't be done for this week, but it's got a long way to go. A lot of painting and detail work to do still, but it's not getting any higher. It's just a broken stair.
So, heads up, this Thursday. What else you got? That the main thing you're working on?
I'm working on some cemeteries, just small cemetery plots.
Awesome.
I got like 4 of these I'm working on, and I'm working on a hangman's tree.
Nice. I'll use that down the road. Cool, man. So here's the deal for this week. Tomorrow night, if you can catch it, 6 to 9 p.m. It's gonna maybe hard for some of you guys watching. Mark's Rescue at Rivermore should finish up, right?
Yep.
Okay.
That's the intent.
That's the intent. All right. So that's tomorrow night, 6 to 9. Then we'll go to Thursday. I think we'll finish. Power Play and Hardby.
I'll be late. Remember, I have a
So it's
scout.
going to be late. So Tom, I need you there on time. Tom, Walt, Mark, and me will be starting it off. Alan is out. Alan's going to be in England. So Then you may want to say hi to Alan. Although I don't know if he wants to go to the Eagles game after today. So we'll see. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that will be Power Play and Harbie will be from 7:30. Bill will get there probably 9 o'clock.
Our scout thing runs till 8, so yeah. By the time I drop my son off and stuff and get there.
It's tentatively on the schedule. Saturday afternoon, I may be doing this youth thing with my friend Steve's kid and his friends, making up the characters. It's back on the schedule for Saturday. All right. That's also Geek Fest. The Tiki's having, so we may go to that too. I'm not sure yet, but that's on there Saturday, and then Sunday night we'll finish up this campaign. We'll definitely finish up with To the Present at that point on. So just wanted to say that I'm not sure if any of your guys are going to be watching this, but the first kind of crossover 2 weeks after tomorrow will be, hopefully that'll be set up where I'll actually run a character in Mark's game on Monday night. I think that'll be cool. I'll just Skype in. That's barring Skype being completely screwed up from this. You can't use Skype 7 anymore, and you can't embed it into XSplit. That may happen November 1st, then we'll be scrambling around to figure something out. So, you don't even want to know how much Alan spent on tickets. I mean, it's insane how much those tickets he spent for him. But that's,
A lot of money.
Yeah, a lot of coin, but that's okay. That's the schedule coming up. I'm really excited about watching tomorrow night. I'll just sit there on Skype because my wife's Meredith's taking Shane to soccer practice, so I'll be here from 6 o'clock on. I'll be quiet, but I'm excited to see the end of it, and we get some good viewers for that. So Tom is especially excited. But here's sometime approaching Christmas. The new first levels, yes, we're looking at the new first levels at some point. I haven't even developed the NPCs yet, but I know Bill and Alan got theirs developed. So Tom was
I have like 6 different developed, depending on who takes what and what we need.
okay.
So.
Yeah, so we're looking around that area. I'd love to do it on December 6th to kick off the next giveaway event for Miniature Building Authority on Thursday, December 6th. We'll see if that's feasible because we don't have figures. Now, Tom has, we know 2 of Tom's characters. Walt was talking to me about the ones he's going to do. So we know that. Mark, I don't think you've come up with yours yet.
I told you it's going to be the nephew of Michael Baton. Now we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Oh,
I don't think the world
God.
can. I don't think the world can survive with having another Baton on the loose.
No. I would gladly take another Winchester and another Baton.
You
don't want a guy walking around going, "Oh, Uncle Michael, oh, you're the most awesomest. Everything it is that you do is so cool."
Oh God.
So you will. Tom has had characters, literally had sheets for characters he wants to play. One in particular from 1987. Okay,
wow.
So he's had a sheet for 31 years of this character. I think we all seen the figure of it, right? Do you know the name of the character? Krentar, the elf eradicator, right? The half ogre. Yeah, so he's got the
that one.
Yeah, and he talks like the Kurgan. Yes, so we're gonna have that absolutely, and that'll be a ball of laughs. And then Thomas Jr., the last character on that sheet of kids that were born during that era will be played, and then Tom's third. So we got some things on it. I already created my character for Marks in the crossover and tied it into our world, tied it into the story. So that's being worked on. I'm also that mega event. I talked to Will from Return of the Bandit Kingdoms. That is on course for Tom Krentar. That is on course for February, March. I'm not going to Gary Con now. I'm going to go try to do Gen Con next year with Mark. I'm not doing Gary Con. I'm not driving up to Lake Geneva in the snow from Chicago in the middle of March. So I'm not going to do that. I also made some deals with my wife on vacation next year when it conflicts with Gen Con. I had to work that out last night over Steve. So we're looking at February, March for a mega crossover event of 4 streamers. I'm working on it, but 2 of them will be ours. So it'll be Return of the Bandit Kingdoms, Mark's group. Hopefully you can get some of your players there on an off day.
Yep.
Low 505, maybe. I don't know if Shane will do it. We'll see. And then us. So that's sometime in early 2019. It'll be a 16-hour long event. I think it'll be awesome. It'll probably be a Saturday, start in the morning, go through to the night. Hey, Sprocket. See, Sprocket gets just on. It's about we're about to call it a night, but that's okay, man. I appreciate it. So if anyone has to get off, maybe I'll just talk a little bit here. So yeah, that's going to be the mega event. It's kind of and someone asked, Bill asked, well, what's it going to be about? And I said, think of it as, if you remember the movie Heavy Metal, think of the Lochnar, right? It bounces around all over. Kind of something like that. Not going to rip that off, but it'll be something to that effect. It'll be an item of some sort, maybe an Order of Dragon kind, or some artifact in Greyhawk that just has touched all these different groups. I think it'll be really cool. So that idea, nice. Oh, you opened Citadels. Oh, dude, hey, what's up? You opened the Citadel figures? Oh, unopened blister of Citadels, man. I guess for the nostalgia of them, but dude, in the U.S., you know how much those are worth? Oh my gosh. Wow.
Just shrink wrap them really quick, man.
Yeah, I would have kept them shrink wrapped and
keep the 1977 air in them.
Oh my God, man. I'm serious, man. Those things go for like Yeah, even Tom's like, damn, those things go for a pretty penny, man. But that's cool. So, yeah, I'm really excited about that crossover idea. I just but we're gonna see. All right, so one other thing coming up, one other announcement. So we're up on PAX Unplugged. If anyone else looked at it, I put it on Facebook. So my intentions at PAX Unplugged Philadelphia. If any of you are nearby. Friday, November 30th, and Saturday, December 1st, I'll be DMing in the morning, and events at PAX Unplugged, and I'm trying to have an event late after hours for Twitch broadcasters. We'll see if that comes together or not. I got pre-wife approval for it. We'll see. It depends. Some people may just want to get drunk in the city or whatever, but I thought it'd be a cool thing to have something here. But that'll be interesting thing. So Sprocket just linked something. Mark, click on it and see what it is if you could for me. So what do you guys? You guys got anything else for you going on? Bill, Mark.
Oh
nope.
Wow.
What is it? Is it the Citadel
This is his blister. Yeah, this is must be his blister pack that he has.
Oh man.
He didn't actually open them. It's just he must have had a box that had a bunch of them in it.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's cool. There's another pick. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, those things are gold in the U.S. Absolutely. There's a collector. Yep. If you look on eBay, the old Rob Parthik crap, we used to call them fishies. They go in the fishy box figures.
Yeah.
They're like $7-8 each because they're. I guess.
Yeah, but it's silly because you can buy all those figures on Ironwind's site.
Yeah, but I think people want the old lead as opposed to the Palladium or the other stuff, right?
Oh. He even has Doctor Who miniatures.
Oh, see, old. You got some old John Pertwees and Tom Bakers.
Yep.
They're my favorite. Yeah. Wow. So that's wow. Yeah, it's amazing how much those things go for in the U.S. So, Mark, just go give a quick thing about tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, so they finally finished up the group. Actually finished up the first level. They're on another level of the Rivermore Castle, and where things got left off, they walked into a room expecting that it was going to be empty, and in the middle of the room, they saw what appears to be some sort of demon that was drooling at the mouth when they walked into the room and really wanting to rip into them. So in the days of old, for those of you that are old wrestling fans, when they would have the most important thing at the very end of the show and say, "Hey, we gotta go," well, that's effectively what happened last week or the last gaming session. So we'll see where everybody ends up. Should be a really, really good night. Looking forward to it. As far as I know, everybody's going to be there, so there should be a lot of really great role playing.
Everyone gonna have one character or two? You gonna have one?
If everybody shows, yeah, I'll probably just allow one.
Okay. Cool.
Because it just gets to be too much. I mean, even just having a single character. The other thing I want to say about it is if you haven't seen it yet, one of the things that we actually implore is a copy of Realmworks, and so. The house that we play at, we have a table that my buddy Jeff actually constructed that has a TV in the center of it.
Yeah,
and so we show that on camera, but also it gives you the opportunity to see what they're actually uncovering. So we show that on the Twitch screen as well. So if you've never seen it before, if you just want to show up just to see kind of what it looks like, feel free to just pop in for a little bit. Like I said, the group is really, really great to interact with. They have a lot of really great role playing that goes back and forth.
Oh,
so.
I think it's fantastic, and like you said, we've only done a couple sessions, and they get the ratings are super, super high on them.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. Like Two Kings is on now, and he's on. I think he actually puts it on his screen at this comic store.
At Universal. Yep, Universal Comics.
So that's so fantastic. I'm excited about finishing that up, and then you moving on to another one, and I'm actually going to participate in it. And I haven't played in a while, so I'm looking forward. I got the character all ready to go, and it's reasonable. It's not a powerful character, but I got a behind-the-scenes character that'll fit in real well, and work with it. I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
So
get to experience what I get to experience every Thursday now. Playing remote and everybody talking over you, you can't get heard.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see everyone tomorrow night. We'll see everyone Thursday night. There'll be no prelude or update on Wednesday. There's no need to. But yeah, so Monday, Wednesday, and maybe that Saturday afternoon deal this week. So thanks everyone for tuning in. I appreciate it. We've been going crazy. Like I said, up to 165 followers. It's been fantastic. Things are just rolling. And also, one other quick thing: Miniature Building Authority Kickstarter was 101 people for like $69,000. So that was a good thing for NBA too. Absolutely. Yeah. So hopefully Sprocket and Thing can get together and maybe do some purchases there. All right, guys. Thank you so very much. Another Gabbin, Lord Peak Saving number 19. I'm Jay. Got Mark, Bill here. See you. See you up. See you tomorrow night. You guys have a great one. Thanks a lot for watching.